Hello my beautiful kingdom, is your king here with a very special video. It's a video on a game that's coming out December 6th, Marvel Rivals. Me and Marvel Rivals, and like me, Harold and Marvel Rivals, we have not a weird history, but a special history together because me and Harold actually had a chance to play Marvel Rivals, right? And it was good. Like, me and Harold agreed, this is like good. This is up there with like Dead by Daylight as like one of our favorite multiplayer games of all time, right? I throw Dead by Daylight and every fighting game ever, right? I love Marvel Rivals a lot, so much so that I personally applied to be an official content creator partner with Marvel Rivals, and they haven't emailed me back. And honestly, I'm pretty sure it's because we only have like 92 subscribers on here, and they don't want to like put that much faith in a small YouTube channel. Where like the last video we posted as I was applying there was a Fallout video where we insulted a bunch of people. Honestly, if you're like a representative of Marvel Rivals, I get it. I'll prove my worth and I'll prove myself and like just try to become an official content creator the old-fashioned way. But yeah. Essentially, we're excited though. I want to like sort of get this ball rolling though with like Marvel Rivals content right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what everyone's doing and make a wish list. This is my wish list of like my favorite superheroes and how I'd personally adapt each of them into Marvel Rivals. Going over gameplay. Sometimes I might have an ultimate, sometimes I might not. Sometimes it might just be like a general idea of me asking, what if they did this in this game, right? And of course, I'm also going to be talking, since these are my favorite superheroes, I'm also going to be talking about why they're my favorites, right? And why I love them so much. So I hope you're as excited as I am for like this new phase of the channel. And yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? So starting off, we have the entirety of the Fantastic Four. If the leaks are to be true or like to be believed, the Fantastic Four are already coming, right? We know that, but I felt the need to talk about them anyway because like out of every superhero team I've seen, the Fantastic Four are my favorite team of like out of any superhero team. Like I love the Fantastic Four a lot. I love the way they're written. I'm currently reading Dan Slott's run, and that's really dope for like what I've read, and I love it a lot. So, I had to include him on here, and I had to do my personal pitch for the Fantastic Four. So first we got Johnny. I have him as a DPS character, and he's basically Iron Man, except he can switch between a long range slow fireball ability or a mid-range flamethrower, right? So like it's like the way I see it, sort of like the fireball ability is like it's slow firing, but you get people from far away, right? And if there are people up close, he can like do like a flamethrower move, where like it's like sort of like it's mid-range and it does damage over time, right? And I thought of this cool idea where like it'd be cool if like he was flame off if he was on the ground and he was like running around, just like flame off without like any like flames around him, right? And then he could be flame on anytime he's like in the air. I think that would be cool. And then for the ultimate, I do not have one. I'm sorry. So, support character. So for next, I have Sue, and I have her as a support character. That's essentially like Zenyatta, where she can give one person a force field or herself a force field, and this force field can heal her allies and like whoever she puts it on, and it also protects them too. But like it has a little health, so if you start shooting at that force field, it'll take like a few seconds to like break it, and I think that'd be awesome. However, for the ultimate, like this entire idea started with the ultimate for Sue, where essentially it's sort of like an area of effect where think like Jeff the Shark, Venom, or like Namor, right? Where it's like an area of effect, and then once you press like the trigger, like the shoot button, right? There's an entire force field that forms around it, and any enemies caught within it like are able to see it, and they can't shoot out of it. And then after like a few seconds, it really quickly contracts itself and starts doing damage for a few more seconds. And then after that, it undoes that. I see this sort of being like Zarya's, I think, the muscle mommy with I probably should have said that, muscle mommy with the minigun from Overwatch, right? Where like it gets the enemies grouped together, right, and does damage. And I see like so much potential for that. That's why I like this idea a lot. It's just like a way to group up all of the enemies together at once. And then next up is Reed Richards. And everyone I've seen give a pitch for Reed Richards. I've seen him give him like a DPS role, right? But honestly, I see him more as a support too, mostly because like as far as I've read and as far as like my friends have told me about Reed Richards, he's constantly trying to fix many things, right? So like being a support and trying to fix his team too, that sort of seems like any character, if you know what I mean. So like for his attacks, his primary are 2 attacks, one mid-range stretchy punch and one stretchy punch where you have to hold down, but it goes like really far away, so you can sort of be like a sniper. And honestly, I did that mainly because I love the idea of like someone fighting, like a Spider-Man fighting or something like that, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's just punched by like a really stretchy arm. That image is always funny to me. But for his support ability, I see him placing some sort of like device or robot on the ground. Personally, I put this as Herbie. You guys know Herbie from Superhero Squad, right? I see this as Herbie like being on the ground, and he has like 2 modes. Either A, it's like he can like boost everyone's damage just by like a little bit, and B, his other ability is just like heal, sort of like Soldier 76's thing, but like over a bigger field, and like anyone within that area is healed. Not as fast, not like fast, but like they get healed. They like have passive healing when they're in that area. I see that being useful. And for his ultimate, I don't have an ultimate for Reed. I only really have an ultimate for Sue out of all the Fantastic Four. So next up, and the last member of Fantastic Four is the Thing. And honestly, I don't have like abilities. I have an idea of where it's sort of like, let's make him like Hulk, but he has more staying power. Because like I've played as Hulk, and the way I've played him, the way I see him being played, is Hulk is sort of like a guy who goes in, does a bunch of damage, and either gets out or dies, right? And that sort of goes in line with like who Hulk's character is, where he goes in, he wrecks things, he goes in, he smashes. Like Hulk smash is literally like that command that Cap gave to him. That's quite literally his entire point, is him going in and smashing everything and then leaving immediately, right? But Thing, from what I've read, Thing, he's like a guy who would like stay put, right? Who would like stand his ground. So I think we should give him more abilities like that. I don't have any specific ideas for any abilities written down, I don't think, but like, yeah, no, I don't. But like I love like the idea of adding that part of his personality from what I've read into like his sort of playstyle of like staying put, and he's sort of like an anchor onto like a point, right? He's like the type of person who will like contest the point no matter what, right? I sort of see that. But yeah, that's my pitch for Fantastic Four. So now on to the other heroes. Next up, we have my favorite superhero of all time, Deadpool. I love him a lot. I love everything about him, and everyone's been giving us like different pitches about Deadpool, but I don't think I've seen this pitch quite yet, right? So first, Deadpool's obviously going to have like his akimbo pistols and his dual wield katanas, right? And I have this idea for how you can switch between them, right? Where he could do a regularly pressing Y, but like he has sort of like this Genji dash where like if he has his guns out and he presses the dash, he could dash through them, and all of a sudden he has his swords out, right? But that's not like the main thing and part of my pitch. I have like 2 main like things for like his abilities, right? One is of course his teleportation belt. However, instead of just teleporting him like Reaper, it sort of teleports him like an instant transmission, where you have to lock onto like another player, whether they're an ally or an enemy, before you can teleport onto them. I think that'd be dope if like you could teleport behind someone and just mess them up with your swords, right? I like the idea a lot. However, my second one is my favorite. I like to call this Vicious Mockery. For those of you guys who don't know, Vicious Mockery is the name of an ability in Dungeons & Dragons where the bard has the ability to canonically say something so mean to the opponent that they take damage. I'm pretty sure it's damage. It might be a debuff. But yeah, this is basically that, except instead of taking damage, it's a debuff to where if you press the button, Deadpool says a flame equip to like one specific enemy, and much like Zenyatta, they're marked for everyone, and now they take more damage. I specifically see the mark being sort of like this, sort of like these word bubbles saying ha ha ha. Sorry about that, I don't know what that was. It's these word bubbles saying ha ha ha, like laughing around the opponent, right? And like it's sort of like them, sort of like let them know, hey, everyone, do damage to that guy, he does more damage. I like sort of like Zenyatta, like I said. This is obviously to just include Deadpool's most important feature, his mouth, right? Because he's the merc with a mouth. Let's include his ability to just talk the enemy's ear off and like sort of demoralize them with quips, right? And for his ultimate, this includes his ability to break the fourth wall. Essentially, Deadpool first yells, "I hope your PC is strong enough for this," and then an area of effect thing happens where anyone within the area of effect gets bombarded with a certain asset on their HUD, and after a bit, they get screen saying the game crash that's disconnected, and then it takes them back to the menu before returning them to the kill cam screen, right? Yeah, like, essentially Deadpool crashes his game with it, quote-unquote crashes their game with this ability, and that's how he kills them. I like this idea a lot. I don't know how hard it would be to program it, But yeah, I think this would be dope for like Deadpool and like dope representation of who Deadpool is. He's a guy who insults people. He breaks the fourth wall. He is good at killing, right? Like I see this being like perfect representation of who Deadpool is as a character. Next up, I have Wolverine, and honestly, there's this one YouTuber whose name I can't pronounce. So Harold, please put his name on the screen right now. But essentially, he does wish lists too, right? And he has Wolverine on one of his wish lists. And his concept is essentially perfect from what I remember, right, where he's a hack and slasher. But one of his abilities is from the Origins Wolverine games where he could jump onto people and like sort of slash them. And I like that a lot. I just felt the need to include Wolverine on here because he's like another one of my favorites of all time, right? Like ever since childhood, he's been like number 2 before like I stopped being interested in Hulk. Then he became number 1, right? But yeah, Wolverine, I want him in the game. If you're listening to this, Marvel Rivals people, put him in the game, please. It'd be dope. Next up is She-Hulk. She's also one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I love her comics. I loved her show when it came out. I love it a lot still. Right, She-Hulk is dope. She's like, her books never seem to miss from all the ones that I've read, right? And I just love her a lot. So she's one of my favorite superheroes. I would be remiss to not include her here. So for her main attacks, of course, it's sort of like just giving her punches and kicks, right? She could even have a dash attack sort of. It's not like Genji. It's more like just her running up to the character, running up to like a certain enemy, or just like running and then punching, right? I sort of see that. However, I have a specific idea for like an ability. We could do one of two things. My first pitch is, what if we just gave her the ability to break off bits of the breakable terrain and just throw it at people? Like imagine you're just fighting her and she's like running at you and she just picks up a part of like the wall and throws it at you. I think that'd be dope. It's either that or the other way we could do this is where she could just comedically pull out stuff out of nowhere and just beat the tar of you with it, right? Like the way I mean this, so like if you're fighting someone as She-Hulk, right, and like you press a button and she pulls out a stop sign out of nowhere and starts swinging it, and like you could use that to get more range, more damage. And like she just pulls out a bunch of random stuff. Sometimes she pulls out bats, sometimes she pulls out part of a car, right? She just pulls out random stuff from like out of nowhere, like a comedic cartoon style, right? Just beat you with. I think that'd be funny too. And then for her ultimate, I just put, what if she brought you back to the menu, which stuns your character and you have to quote unquote reconnect in order to end the stun phase, right? Like I think that would be dope, like to reference one, the fact that she breaks the fourth wall, but two, to reference like her most iconic like panel shot she's ever been in, which is her like breaking out, tearing open the pages of the comic book, right? I think that'd be dope, like for She-Hulk. But yeah, that's my basic pitch though. Just make her a funny comedy brawler type character. Next up, we have Gwenpool. She's another one of my favorites. She's up there. Like these last 4 people, they're all like my top 5 favorite like superheroes of all time. Gwenpool, I love her a lot. She's really dope. I love the comics that I've read of her. And I sort of see her as a support character, kind of, where like she has guns and swords and all that. But I had this really insane idea where like, what if in game she had the ability to go into the code and just change certain aspects of the game, right? So like in the comics, or like at least what I've read of her comics, right, she has the sort of ability to just sort of like crawl out of the comic book pages and like the panels and all that, and just like see the different pages and all that. And I think this idea I have will reflect that. That's where like she could go into like the game's code and change stuff. Like that's like what all her different abilities is. Where, like one moment she could like press a button and it'll give her enemies temporary HP, or another moment she could like sort of like press another button and like that charges up like one of her teammates' ultimates, right? Like for her actual ultimate, I sort of see it being like, what if she like has the ability to like mess with the objective somehow, either like slowing down the objective, taking away progress from it, or sort of like just like taking it for like her teammates, right? I think that would be dope. Probably overpowered, but everyone in this game is overpowered in some way. But yeah, I like Gwenpool a lot, and I'd love to see like more of the fact that she can manipulate the comic in some sort of way to like sort of like be representative of who she is. I think that would be dope. And last but not least, I had to end it off on a villain, so let's do my favorite of all time, Ultron. I mainly love him because of like the movie Age of Ultron. James Spader killed that role, like absolutely killed it as Ultron. Like I don't care if like that movie did him dirty. That performance alone sells it for me. It's like up there with like Heath Ledger as Joker for like one of my favorite performances of a villain of all time. Anyway, so Ultron, for his main attack, he has an energy blast and of course can fly. But I have like two different ideas for abilities. One is essentially turn him into Sombra, where he could like hack and all that, and like just cut off different people's like abilities and ultimates and stuff like that, so like Sombra could do. But for like his second ability, he has the ability to like summon out Ultron bots, right? And when he summons out an Ultron bot, essentially like it works sort of like how like the night works in Dead by Daylight, where if you don't know, if you summon a night, you could set a patrol path and they could patrol that way, right? So I'm sort of thinking Ultron could be sort of like Loki's decoys, except they walk around and attack anything that's near, right? And you can have a max of 3 of these, right? So if you like have 3 out, and you want to place down a 4th one, whichever one's the oldest of the 3 disappears all of a sudden, and it's just like 3 still, right? And like they do that until either you have the max amount of like if you go over the max, or they stay out until they're dead, right? And then the Ultron bots can do something else too, where like if you want, you can walk onto a target and tell an Ultron bot to go attack that person, and they'll attack that person until either that person is dead, the Ultron bot is dead, or until like you summon like I said, go over the max of 3, and then if that one's the oldest, it gets replaced, right? I like this idea a lot, and I'd love to see this kind of character, even if you did that with Doom, right? I feel like Doom has more potential than just like summon out Doom bots. If we even did that with Doom, I'd love this idea like on a character, right? I think Ultron's the best fit for this idea though. But yeah, that's my entire wish list. I'm excited to be on this journey to like play Marvel Rivals, right? I'm planning on making this plus a Fallout series to be like sort of weekly here on the channel. Some of our first weekly series here on the channel, right? I'll try to make this weekly, but like my schedule is chaotic, being the Kang of everything, right? But I will try my best. I am super excited for this game. Marvel Rivals representatives, if you're watching this, please make me official content creator. Have faith in me, please. I know I'm small, but I'm begging you, I'm getting desperate. Please, please make me. Please, I want to be a content creator. I want.